Yo, what's up? Welcome to Brother Strong, the podcast. Brother Strong is designed exclusively for the uplifting and empowerment of black men. It galvanizes us while celebrating our strength, and it's built on the fundamental ideals of self, family, community. For ourselves, it's an introspective proclamation that reminds us that we have to first be strong ourselves. After we're strong, it's our individual responsibility to build strong families. And after we've built strong families, it's our collective accountability when we build strong community. So it's self, family, community. I am, you are, we are Brother Strong.
Brother Strong.
What's happening, G?
What's up, my brother? Let's start off with some word association. I'm going to say a word. Say the first thing come to your mind without thinking. I know you like to think. Being the capper that you are.
Yes, sir.
All right. Job.
Job, Steve.
Huh?
Steve.
Ownership.
Ownership. Steve Jobs. Apple.
How you get Steve Jobs out of ownership? And what in the world?
I mean, he's dead, but you said Jobs.
I asked you Job. You said Steve. Then I said ownership. You said Steve again.
Well, no. Ownership, wealth.
Hustle.
Grind. Hustle, flow.
Okay. Money.
Money, rest.
Generational wealth.
What I'm working for.
Boy, you're going to start asking me the question.
Okay. No. Ask it. What job? What you say?
Don't have one.
Oh, that's good. Wealth. What word's that?
Second page. Wealth. First thing I think about wealth, fantasy.
Ownership.
Mine.
Like mine as in M-I-E?
As in I own it.
M-I-N-E?
When you say ownership, it belongs to me.
Mine. Okay, mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hustle. Did we do that?
Hustle. When I think hustle, us.
Yeah. Money.
Not enough.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And I want to talk about, there's this term that I have become familiar with, and I hate the fact that it took me, I'm 60, so I can't say it took me 60 years to understand it, but generational wealth. I never knew. I mean, I'm 60 years old. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just in the last couple of years getting a true understanding of generational wealth. I would hear, growing up, I heard folks say, yeah, they come from money.
Mm-hmm.
I would hear, his family got this, so, they're going to be left this. Not understanding that was generational wealth. I just grew up thinking, that's in the family. He's straight.
Right.
But now I look at the work that I do as an advocate. I look at the work that I do as trying to create platforms to give our people a voice. And one of my biggest fears is I don't want that to die when I die. And so it's not about generational wealth. To me, that's the umbrella. What's the most important thing for me under that umbrella is sustainability. Because if we built this, then if I'm not here, man, it can't die. And if it dies, that's a stain on my legacy to say, gee, you didn't take care of business.
Well, I mean, I think I saw, I think the thing that really makes me think about generational wealth is when I think about how I saw the Rockefeller estate plan and how his trusts were set up.
Life insurance and all that. Yeah, man. So you say the word trust. It's like, I'm just now, and I'm ashamed, but I'm always naked. You know what the heck a trust was.
No, listen, man.
Hear about life insurance, but then from our standpoint, the only time you hear about life insurance is at the funeral.
Right, when somebody did, and then they just had enough, really, basically, to cover the funeral.
Exactly.
So I don't think that. I think one of the things, my brother Shannon Wright, Esquire, right now, that's what his specialty is. He specializes in estate planning and trust. And I've been reading up on it for a minute, but I think one of the things that it's important to us right now is just really to understand what that is and how we get to that. Because, I mean, the hustle is real. Sometimes we don't even have the money to think about putting anything into a trust, right?
I heard, growing up in church, we all come to that defining moment. Do you tithe or do you not tithe? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like you can't afford not to. From the secular world, you can't afford not to try to save and put something up.
Right.
You can't afford not to. I mean, I look at just from a business standpoint, when I'm always looking for an opportunity to save money by spending money.
Okay, help me with that.
Okay, for instance, all right. So, if the average venue that I go into is $15,000,
Okay.
okay, in terms of to rent a venue, $15,000. If I spend $40,000 on a video wall, now I can go into venues that cost about $1,500 to $2,000. And over the course of time, spending that $40 on a video wall just saved me. I didn't pay for that video wall in 2 cities.
So help me. So the $15,000 building provided you with what different?
So if I'm going to do a stage play, I have to have a stage big enough to put up my set, which is a 30 by 30 stage. You're not going to get a 30 by 30 stage in a church. You're not going to get a 30 by 30 stage in a high school. You're not going to get a 30 by, you might run, but
So-
I can go into centers now with a video wall, and I don't need that much space.
How much space do you need?
Probably like a 15 by 20.
Oh,
So
So
now
that
I can
cuts
go
it
into
almost
recreational
half.
centers. I
Right.
can go now. The places I can go now to take a play are open. Before they wasn't even an option.
right, because of the stage.
So you always have to look at from a business standpoint. If I'm going, you're gonna spend money, but how do you spend money to save money?
Yo, G, I think you might be over some folks' heads right there because that makes a lot of sense to me now that you explain it that way. How did you get here? What started your entrepreneurial journey? How did you get right here, right now with G. Davis Plays and Television, or is it G. Davis Television and Plays?
Davis Productions and Films.
Okay, production. Okay, correct me. G. Davis Production and Film.
So, Jeremy, I mean, you was with me when I started. I was. It was like 6 or 7 cars following a pickup truck with a sofa in the back of the truck. We going to set the sofa up in the chair in front of the curtains and doing a play.
I remember that.
And so I always talk about it because that's how I started. I think I got here, Jeremy, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So when we talked about hustle, I don't hustle because I want to. It was my dream to own a radio station and to be working in corporate America, working at a radio station. It wasn't my dream to be writing plays and touring the country.
You wanted Radio 1.
I wanted Radio 1. I wanted G1.
G1, right.
Yeah. I didn't want it, but God had something else for me to do. And so when I accepted the fact that this is my plight, I didn't have. Now this is a nugget. I'll tell my G fellows.
Right.
If you can finance your vision, it ain't your vision. It's not. If you can finance your own vision, that ain't a vision.
Well, I'm definitely in my vision. I'm definitely in it.
I can't. There was no way I could finance all the things I wanted to do by myself. And so, if I could talk to my younger self, I would have, I'll come back to that. But the thing is, I wanted to be able to finance the things I wanted to do. So I had to hustle legally to figure out ways to make money to finance my dream.
So let's talk about that hustle thing because, particularly in our community, everybody that I know hustles in some way, shape, or form. Well, I can't.
Yeah, I agree. They do. In some form,
in some form or fashion. Because I got dudes. This is no joke. One of my closest boys he has a job that pays, 6 figures up, like not quite mid, but high 6 figures, over 200, right? He still fixed cars on on the side, or he still sells cars. Or he fixes
Now,
them up.
I think some of that is passion, and some of it is necessity. First, I got a niece who works for Homeland Security. She makes 6 figures, but she does eyelashes. She got her own little place in her house called Whiplash, and I didn't know there was so much money into doing eyelashes. Now, she does it because she loves to do it, but she does it to finance her vacations, and also doesn't come out of her.
Right.
But then you may have a husband and wife that the wife isn't working, or wife works part time, the husband works full time, and they got a son ready to go to college. There needs to be some extra money, so he may take on a part time job, or she may take. So I think what's the reason for doing the hustle? A lot of times life gives us reasons.
Well, first of all, we Black, and I think that the things that we were talking about when we had the pop words in the beginning with generational wealth and those kind of things, I don't think that we've had the benefit of having those things in place. And I think that there are so many of us who are actually at this moment in time trying to establish that. So like your niece and like my dude, like they are trying to put something away so that they could possibly create that for their kids, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I think Kelly's doing it for vacation. I think she's got her head financially set in terms of how she wants to do her money. But like with me, I have come to the realization that I've got more years behind me than I do in front of me.
Okay.
That I had to accept that. And so with that, okay, how am I going to take advantage of every day that I have so that when I don't have the energy, I don't have all that I can do all the things that I want to do, how can I lead this company to a place, whoever isn't going to be running it, they don't have to work as hard as I did. And so I do know that they got to have the money because they may not have the energy that I did.
The drive for it, because it's yours.
Yeah, but see, so for me, I do it without the money. Someone coming behind me may say, "Well, we ain't no money, we ain't doing it." If I don't have no money, I go find it. I try to create it. That next person may not do that, so I got to make sure that what's left when I'm not here, is a pot that can finance and jumpstart and keep stuff going. Now that's generational. So
that's your idea of what generate.
Well, no, that's not generational wealth. That's succession, because I didn't come from generational wealth. So I got to create it.
Right.
I got to create generational wealth. So that, and I didn't have anything left to me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a relative that passed on and left me $1 million and say, "Here you go." I'm hoping that when I leave here, that I'm going to leave some millions,
right, so
that someone can keep going. I have to create the generational wealth.
Right. I think when we talk about that, though, we got more than 30% of our community who don't even have any type of employee sponsored retirement. Like There is nothing with that. So we're creating our own. So we kind of gotta actually have a hustle, right? Because we're in the process of creating it.
Why do you think people hustle?
To eat.
Right. To eat. So what happens if, man, I'm going to tell you what's dear to my heart. And I'm trying to figure out how to put this in a documentary form. What's the difference between, I like to know the difference between a person who's homeless and the person who was just about to give up and got what they needed. Because when I look at homeless people, man, I be wanting to know the backstory. Like you asked me, how did I get here? Man, how did they get there? Look, I just don't care.
I've actually wondered that a couple of times, especially when I see younger people who are homeless. Mm-hmm. Like, what is it? There was this guy. This will be my first time telling this story.
Okay.
There was a guy some years ago. Jerene and I were walking in the mall, and this guy rushed towards us, and I jumped in front of her. and he was like, I'm sorry. I just got so excited to see you, and I wanted you to see me. And I was like, okay. He said, you don't remember me? I was homeless. He said, and you asked me, you told me to come here. He was like, because I said, come here. I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 22, 23. I said, and you're homeless? Why? And he gave me, I said, here's what I'm gonna do. I called one of my guys who had a lawn business. Mm-hmm. I said, you're not about to be walking through a parking lot asking people for money, and you are 22. You can walk. Mm-hmm. And he just looked at me and he was like, okay. I said, well, I'm gonna call somebody so you can go to work. You can go to work. So he rushed up to me that day and he was like, do you remember that day? Do you remember that day I was in the Food Lion parking lot and you called the guy and told him to give me a job? He said, well, I got that, and then I went to Job Corps. And then I went to Job Corps, and I have never seen you again, but I'm getting married.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting married Monday. And Jared was like, oh, Daddy. He was like, I'm getting married Wednesday. And he was like, I was hoping that I was hoping that I'd see you, and I could tell you that, I got a job and I'm doing this and I'm a plumber or something. He was a plumber, and he was looking at starting his own business to start his hustle.
Wow.
So that he could build wealth. But he stood there and he talked about what his plans were and how he was going to go get it. So I think a part of this for our community right now, I understand that question because I asked him, how did he get there? Now I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. We didn't, that day, it was near Christmas. A couple of years back, I actually wrote a story on my Facebook or something about it at the time.
That's cool, man.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we got to, our journey is different. Mm-hmm. We hustle because we got to eat.
Yep.
Now he was hustling people, and I told him that he needed a different kind of hustle.
I like 6 and 7 questions here. Number 6, how do childhood money experiences shape how we work and spend today?
I was having this conversation last night. A friend of mine let their granddaughter order $70 worth of seafood with money that she had just earned. And they said, it was her money. I said, okay. It was. So the next day, it was like her mom's birthday. And she wanted to get her a couple of things, and she wanted to get her some Reese's. But when I had visited the house earlier this week, there was already a big jar with candy in it. I said, so why would you allow her to buy candy that was already at the house and not direct her to buy something different? To actually think about spending her money well. I totally agree with the fact that teaching a child, my daddy taught me, this is no joke. My daddy used to give us allowance, $1.
You got one.
Huh?
You got one.
But I got $1, right?
No, I'm saying you got a allowance. I didn't get that.
So we got $1. My daddy wouldn't give you your allowance next week if you didn't pay tithe out of your, you didn't get one dime to tithe, and you didn't take one of your dimes and put it in
savings.
Your little cup. So the reality is you only had 80 cents to spend. That was something that my daddy has instilled in my head till right now today, or one of the things that, prior to the pandemic, when my money was right, it's still, we're right. Mm-hmm. But when I was there, what helped me get there was the fact that I never spent 100% of my money. I didn't even start out with it. I always did those things first.
Now, let me tell you the exact opposite. We are opposites. I didn't grow up understanding anything about money.
Nothing. Mm-mm. You spent everything you got.
I didn't have anything to spend.
Well, after you started working, how did you?
Hold on. We getting there.
Okay.
So when I got to college, I'll never forget it, man. My aunt and my mother gave me like $20. And I'm thinking, because I'm there early for band camp, that $20 got to last me a week before classes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was going to get, eat 3 times a day at Fayetteville State. Because I thought that $20 was going to have to last me for a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when I went up to the hill, and I'd go to Bojangles, and, at the time it was $2.99 for 2 wings and a biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my plan laid out. And it was like, gee, you're not going to the calf? I said, the calf? Yeah, dude, the calf open 3 days. Dude, that $20 was gone that night. I wasn't taught how to, I didn't come up, because I didn't have money.
You spent the whole $20 on what?
I don't know. Food. Dude, think about it. I thought I had to use that $20 to eat. So since I ain't got to eat with it, I'm going to do something else with it.
Right.
So when I started making money, first job, it was like I spend what I got. I wasn't taught how to save. And so, dude, I went bankrupt twice. I've been bankrupt twice. The second time I went bankrupt, I said, you know what, I am not going to ask my mother and father and aunts to help me out of my situation because they didn't put me in it. First time I did. And so I learned my lesson. And so I said, you know what, it took me going bankrupt twice to start understanding money. Because I didn't, so now it's like, man, if I could talk to my younger self,
right,
it would be like, understand finances, understand trading, understand. I didn't grow up. So when I started, I thought if you make it, you spend it.
Right.
Now, let's get to question number 7. Can you build wealth without sacrificing peace, health, and relationships? I would like to know how, because on my journey, I have sacrificed all 3.
Peace,
with the exception of health.
Right. Okay.
I've sacrificed all. I mean, first marriage, gone. Peace, dude, I used to, good God, man.
Was that because you were building wealth? Finances? Well,
that was because I would say, even before I knew I was building wealth, I was building wealth. Because as I was building this company, that's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I mean, so I can't separate building wealth from building this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so because of my lack of understanding and lack of having the proper mentorship in finances and all that other stuff, all that stuff was sacrificed, man, for me. Now, I'm not saying that I wish I knew how to do it without doing it, but for my journey, all that stuff.
Well, I would say that I agree with you. I do think it's possible, though.
Oh,
I
do.
I think it's possible with proper guidance and training. Hopefully our children, like, for instance, Kelly,
mm-hmm.
who has an understanding of finances today,
mm-hmm.
has a different journey. It was because we didn't necessarily have those things. Now, I was actually having a conversation just recently when we were talking about the whole health of our financial health.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things that this whole relationship thing, I think that for some guys, particularly like me, and at this age, there are certain things that you got to have before you can have a relationship. So you actually sacrifice doing that. You're like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, so many things we were talking about earlier. We were talking about women wanting certain things
mm-hmm.
in our lives right now. So you might have to sacrifice a little bit of that.
Yeah. I like question number 2 says, what do you wish more black men knew about launching a business? I tell you what I wish I knew. What I wish I knew, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, if it's a black thing, but sometimes me, Garrett, I wonder why we price ourselves so low. Is it just to get the business? Is it just to get our foot in the door? I mean, a service is a service, and so there should be a stamp to that. I think one other thing I wish I knew was, and I think I want, if you're listening, if you're about to be a business owner, want to be a business owner, just lean in. Ask for more money than you need. if it costs, I think black people ask for enough money to get their doors open.
Right.
Other people ask for enough money to have their doors open for a year if nobody comes in it.
Right.
Now I'm not looking over my back. So if I only ask for just enough money to get my doors open, no matter how good my product is, if something comes up that I can't control, like COVID, like this, that, and the other, now what am I going to do? I'm out of business.
Right. Well, fortunately, I was blessed during that particular period of time because I didn't have money to come in for 3 years, but I didn't miss one payment on anything because of me asking for more money. I had enough money to last me for that period of time.
You know why you had enough money?
Why?
Well, I think based on what I've heard you say, because your daddy, when he gave you $1, told you put a dime in church, put a dime in that bucket, and that stuck with you. And every dollar that you made since then, that buck was able to take care of you for 3 years.
It was. It was.
Now, if he didn't teach you that, where do you think you'd be?
I know where I'd be. I would have been bankrupt or something else. But here's the thing. I want to go back to that question. What do I think more black men knew before launching a business? I wish really that we understood the power of unity and community, right? I wish, because here's where I'm going to go. Right now, we never really think about this. You have to have a college degree to work for a business owner who started the business without a college degree. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? You got guys who started businesses that did not go to college, or they dropped out of college, but you got to have an education to go work for them. One of the things that, and I wrote a paper for I think it's Dr. Garrett at Fayetteville State years ago. In 1992, it was how segregation hurt us. Now, I'm not getting into all of this kind of stuff, but when we were segregated, we had
unity.
We had unity, but not only that. We had like 75% more ownership than we have today, because everybody in that community, you had to own. You had black attorneys, you had black doctors, you had black barbershops, you had black restaurants. All of those things were with us when we were unified. So what I really wish we knew is the power of unity.
Well, a part of me thinks that is so hard. On one spectrum, it's so hard to come by. Because I look at now, it's like for instance, like someone like Jerry, who works with us, who is by himself is a, genius in terms of what he does.
Okay.
And so
he is.
I would rather appreciate him and offer him a piece of something than to say, yo, man, come work for me. So to me, unity is recognizing someone's strength and ability and building something together versus, you do that, I'm going to do this. That makes sense. And
It
I don't
does.
know, I don't know if we ever, I don't know. How do we get over there? How do we get over, being so territorial versus opening up?
Well, I think that's entrepreneurship at its best, right? When you know how you fit into the puzzle and where you are. I think because we create community, like we were talking about earlier. So now that you as a black man helps another black man, which is what Brother Strong is, right? Mm-hmm. And you guys approach and tackle things together as partners in this. But I think that is a form of the black unity that I'm talking about. But I'm also talking more about like community in the sense that we are servicing us. Now, even when you talk about the plays or G. Davis Radio or TV, the reality to this at the end of the day is while we're affecting different communities, the majority of the people that are affected by you is who?
Mm-hmm.
Us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that we have to be very intentional about bringing our business and quality service to our community. Because let me tell you something. I'm a person that actually I patronize our businesses. Mm-hmm. But what I can tell you for certain is I went into a black restaurant one day during homecoming. It was a local restaurant, and I wanted my friends to go to it because I had never heard of it. I heard the food was good. When we got there, the door was open. Walked in, stood there for almost 40 minutes because we're talking and laughing. And I walked up to the young lady, the hostess, and I said, "Are you guys? Nobody's in here. Can we get seated?" And she was like, "Oh, you guys came to eat." She was like, "Well, we don't open till 5." And I said, "Wait a minute, honey. You seen us standing here. We're like service for us. Like, I think that's one of the things that we got to talk more about in this hustle, in building wealth, in entrepreneurship, and the whole hustle culture. How many of us, like, how proficient are we at our hustle?"
Yeah. You know, I never label what I do hustling. People call me and say, like, "Man, G, you hustle all the time."
No,
I
you
don't
hustle all the time.
but I don't like that word.
Why?
I just don't. I don't like the word. I mean, at some point, I just don't like the word hustle. You know, I don't like.
Give me a reason, G. Like, you don't like hustle because of what? What does it do when you hear it?
To me, it says I'm doing. To me, the word hustle means I'm doing something I don't want to do, but I got to do it anyway. I don't see any positive with hustle.
No. Think about what we talked about when I said my boy who makes good money. Oh,
Yeah, but I don't like the word hustle with him either. Yeah, I just don't like that word hustle. You know, because a lot of times that hustle, you know, when I was teaching school, came with, you know, dealing drugs.
Well, again, that's media. Mm-hmm. Media is powerful, and I think it has caused us to have a certain. Because when you talk about "I'm a hustler, babe," I just want you to know, like, it has a connotation based on our community. Because a hustler, it doesn't sound like it's on the up and up.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: hustle culture ain't just ours. Everybody tries to buy into our culture, our cultural existence. So hustle culture is like everybody.
right.
So the negative connotations that go along with it ain't just for us, right?
Totally agree. One of the things that talking about things I don't like when it comes to, do you find yourself being a business owner from other African Americans wanting what's the word we call wanting a
Discount.
Discount, hookup, you know, because they're brothers or sisters and you're a brother or sister. Yo, man, can you come shoot this? Can you hook me up?
I've heard that. I've seen it, but I don't even get into that anymore. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
My grandmama. I always got a story, right? You remember my family did that album?
Yeah, of course I do.
It was a really good album, and we were going home, and the area around home was really excited that the Wright family would come, and we rented a Winyah high school gym, and my grandmama had just gotten her leg amputated, and this was her first outing with all of her grandchildren on the stage singing, band, everything coming. And my aunts were bringing my grandma in, and we were all really happy. So we came from our dressing rooms, and because grandma coming, y'all, grandma coming. And they went to push my grandma in, and my grandma grabbed the side of the table and pulled the whole table around. And she was like, and they were like, whoa, what's wrong, grandma? Because she ain't say nothing yet. My grandma said, roll me back. And she went in, got her money out. She said, if I pay, everybody paying. That's what my grandmama did.
Yeah.
With one leg. And she told my aunts whose children were singing, she was like, everybody's paying. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me and them.
Mm-hmm. You think it's hard for us, people of color, to obtain and create generational wealth when the generation that we're in don't want to work for it?
Man, listen. Again, I started to talk the other day. I was talking, and I don't mean to be so loquacious. But I'm gonna tell you where I think we are after I make this statement, and I'm certain that you've heard the old adage that strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men.
It's a circle, man.
I think we're in easy times, and we've created weak men, and these weak men, and when I say men, it's men and women, are creating hard times.
So let me ask you this.
So yes,
As a father,
yes,
you don't want your son or daughter to go through the hardship that you went through. So what you try to do is you educate, you mentor, you give them the tools that they need. So, you don't want to make it easy for them. Because I think there's a thin line between.
no, it's already, they got it. Their hustle is different, and their hustle is basically sitting down like Kenya is over there on the phone, just looking and that's their thing. And I've been on my son quite a bit, and I said, yo, I need you and your boys to figure out how we make Black Men Have Feelings, that line,
Right.
like really popular. Like, I need you to do something to earn what you asking for. Like, and I can I say this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can, G.
They don't get it.
Our mothers are making our boys in this generation a little weaker than us.
That's why we got to get some women on the show, because we're going to be accused of y'all talking about the women. The women ain't on the show. I agree to a certain extent. This is the extent I agree with you. Yes, they're making them weaker. But what options do they have if that's all they know?
Listen. Think about this, G. Do you know how much a cell phone costs?
Yeah, $1,500-$1,600.
Right. And I need a new one right now. I got a phone. I still got an 8-year-old phone right now.
Right.
I remember when I made my first long distance phone call on my parents' phone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I had to do?
You didn't have too much time to talk.
No. I had to go find $32. I had to go find $32. Can you imagine $32 in 1988 on a phone call?
Phone call.
My daddy he was like, "What?" He was like, "I ain't paying this." Today we buy the phone and pay the cell phone bill for kids
And upgrade it before it's ready.
Right. I actually had a friend of mine who actually said, my son, they just don't have that grind that we had. I said, okay, they're a junior, and I said, do they have a cell phone? I said, okay, yeah. I said, how many pairs of Jordans do they have? Oh, how many of them did they buy?
They don't have to grind.
They ain't got no hustle. They ain't got no grind because they didn't have to buy a shoe. They didn't have to buy a phone.
Sock.
Nothing.
Right.
Do you understand that in the 9th grade? My daddy could afford it, but let me tell you what he gave us to go. It didn't change. School shopping was $100. Do you know what $100 could buy?
Mm-hmm. Pair of jeans and a shirt. Probably.
Right. So if I wanted anything else,
you work and you got it. Yeah, and so I think, and that's a show for a whole nother day. What role are fathers and mothers playing in the fruit of what we're looking at now? Or
in the destruction of the hustle?
The destruction of the hustle.
Because if we're talking about hustle culture,
mm-hmm.
there is there really a hustle culture happening right now?
No, I don't think so. You think so?
No. Like,
yeah, I said that on purpose so Jerry would yell, "What?"
Yeah, no, listen, no. I'm saying right now we call it hustle culture, and I think we got more millionaires, more millionaires in a certain group right now, 25 and under, because it's mostly tech. It's mostly, I mean, it's about the hustle of sale, but it's not about the hustle of work. I mean,
but they would call that work.
I get it.
I mean, you and I don't call it work, but when they're influencing,
mm-hmm.
being an influencer, that's work to them. That's why they say I don't need a job.
But
I'm going to take my phone. I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to be an influencer, and that's work to them.
But here's the problem. And
you don't understand it. That's the problem.
But we see no. We see it happening right now. AI is obviously there are projections that let's say something like a fast food restaurant. I was in a Bojangles a couple of months ago where there used to be 2-3 folk at the front. It was one person coming to check the kiosk. I understand the technology advancements and the hustle that kids think that they have today, but we don't have very basic fundamental jobs like plumbers and electricians and the things that will never go away. And because I grew up, my godmother's husband, he had a heating and air.
Yeah, but see, the kids of the day, they're not trying to be a plumber. They're not trying to be an electrician. They don't want those jobs.
Right. But then when you talk about hustle flow and that's influencing and selling shirts and doing that kind of stuff, that's not a sustainable hustle.
To us.
No, based on technology, based on projections.
Yeah. I mean, I see. I mean,
listen. Right here, you've built a studio, and I get it. There's going to be another G. Davis who comes in the next generation. But we're talking about those other children. We're talking about those other children who are not necessarily. They're thinking that all I need to do is be an influencer. Is that a real thing?
Dude, you got some. I would, if I.
There's some out there.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah,
a lot of influencers out there making
millions. Right.
And they'll look at us and go, dude, you working too hard. I'm not working that hard. I don't have to.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said about the old adage, and then I guess we got to get out of here, right? That old adage at easy times create weak men create hard times. I think we're at that.
So
bubble.
what time are influencers creating if they're making millions of dollars? What times are they creating?
Well, I saw something the other day, and I'll show you. I saw a meme the other day that had some old folk dancing to a Snoop song, and it was like these are baby boomers who bought their houses for $5 and sold them to a millennial for $3 trillion. like right now, there has to be it's a bubble.
But think about that. If they can buy a house for $3 trillion, they set.
Well, but here's the thing. The problem is the boomer who had the equity, who made that money from them, they're not going to. There's no way my house in my neighborhood is $1 million and a half dollars in 20 years. It's no way possible. But in the last 20 years, what I've seen, if I see that in 20 years, I'm still gonna have it.
I get you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way that could happen.
Yeah. That's mindset. We out of time, man.
Yo, let's go. Well, that's what we do for the entrepreneurship, wealth building, and the hustle culture. I think it was
culture.
a good conversation.
We're gonna do a part 2, and we gotta invite
a young person who is hustling.
A younger person who's hustling, and an older. Yeah, we gotta get some variety. We gotta get Jerry. We gotta get Jerry out from behind his.
How old is Jerry?
I don't know how old Jerry is, but Jerry is a person who doesn't say much. He's like E.F. Hutton.
No.
But when he does talk, people listen.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yo, y'all be good. We'll see you next week.